I listen to a lot of teachers. Of course, you come first and foremost because you're teachers of all teachers. There is another gentleman that some other people ask you about. His name is BASHAR. He goes by the name BASHAR. And he's been doing this like you for 30 years. And sometimes I listen to the same video clips and it's almost identical, saying the exact same thing. But it is more detail-oriented.
And so, when you once you align, the details are life-giving. Until you align, the details are confusing.
Okay, yes.
Don't you find that?
Yeah.
With anything.
You said about like 20 years ago that human beings are only beings in the entire universes that are so lack-oriented. They only focus on lack and not seeing the abundance of, which is the true nature of the universe.
And part of it is because of your desire to communicate with one another, your desire to be understood by each other.
Okay.
We were making the comparison about the animals of your planet and the birds of your planet, who are also extensions of Source. But because they are less focused on the specifics or details of desire, they are less resistant.
Okay.
So the premise is that, foremost, it doesn't need to be this way, and it is changing, that the more you're focused upon a desire, the more likely you are to introduce resistance into the equation.
My question is, are we masters? Because
you can be.
We can be?
Yeah, and you achieve that mastery by managing your energy. That mastery is that. When we say your goal is to feel good, that's that mastery that we're talking about, which means my current moment in time, I'm focused on something desired and I'm not contradicting the energy. That's mastery of the energy.
Well, the other gentleman says this is the master class of all the universe. When all these beings who come here, this is not a primary school. This is a master class for beings being here.
We want to say that too in this sense. We're talking about this is the leading edge. This is everything that has been before us focused here with you. Of course this is the master class. The leading edge always is that. It always is that. You have the most variety to choose from. You have the most asking, so you're summoning the most energy. The energy is a higher frequency than ever before. The possibilities are infinite. Yes. But it is necessary that you allow the energy to flow that you have summoned. It really is that simple. When you ask for something and you doubt it, you've got contradiction going on and you don't feel good and you're not mastering the energy. You're summoning it and squelching it at the same time. That's not mastery. That's sloppy thinking. That's vibrating all over the place. That's allowing the momentum to be here and the momentum to be here, wanted and unwanted, and it causes a big wobble in between, and your guidance says, hey, you're wobbling. Hey, you're not mastering the energy. Hey, you're thinking about what you want and you're thinking about what you don't want. You're not definitive. You're not focused. You're not guided. You're not inspired. You're not allowing the source within you to flow through you in the way that you want to because you're blocking it with contradictory thought. That's not mastery. That's sloppy thinking.
Thank you. Last thing, Abraham.
So sometimes you're masters and sometimes you're sloppy in your thinking, yeah?
Yes.
And you can tell when you're mastering. You can tell when it's going. You can tell when you're doing it, can't you? So, are we assigning you mastery? No. You can't help being masters. You're on the leading edge. You already are. You already are. Source is not saying us, and this shouldn't have let that one come. Look good pre-birth, but now, And Source doesn't say, it's the influence from his parents that are preventing it. It's just always, the potential is always there for anyone to find their way at any point that they decide to. There's never any, well, you should have done it differently before. None of that. There's never any, well, you've missed your window, because the window follows you around. The window follows you around. There are endless, in any moment in time, there are 20 or 30 viable probabilities of good outcomes for you on every subject in the world. But when you're ornery, you miss all 30 of them.
Last thing, Abraham. How
That's
do I-
really good.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.